this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Also, I give away the demo card, so if you're a first-time subscriber, put your email in the comments and I'll email you back and let you know if you won the card. Also, make sure you watch the video all the way through, because you never know, I might give the card away to anyone, or I might be doing card kits or swaps or something. So anyway, now let's go make a card. Hello everybody, today's card we're going to be using Feels Like Home, and that's in the Sale-A-Bration catalog, and it's now September 2021. You have until September 30th to get this for free. Anyway, and we're also using the soft pastel assortments, and they're on page 126 in the annual catalog. They're right here next to the colored pencils and the Stampin' Right markers. So they're not super well known because they're kind of hidden here, but we're going to be using them to do this card. Now, if you don't have the pastels, you can also do it with just your inks, but let's go ahead and get started. We're also going to be using the rectangle stitch frame, so go ahead and pull those out as well. And then the card base is going to be just a 5.5 by 4 1/4 in basic black. And I really do want to start you with the inside of the card first. Now we're going to start out with a piece of Saffron, just 5.5 by 4 1/4, just to make it kind of consistent. And then I'm going to take the largest stitch rectangle die and the second largest, and I'm going to put it down here and grab some of my tape. Now I used a yellow delicate frog tape because it is amazing. I'm sorry. And I'm going to line these up so that the middle rectangle is in the middle. So I'm going to kind of line those up, and I'm going to take that tape, and I don't know if you can tell in the video here, I've got my bottom plate to my die cutter. So I'm going to take the tape and I'm going to measure these all up, and I'm going to run it through. So now after you die cut, pull off that tape real gentle, and what you're going to get and what we're going to use inside is a frame, just like that. And that's the piece we're going to use right now. I'm going to grab my silicone craft sheet and I make sure these stitches are on the back side, and go ahead and snail this up. If you don't have one of these silicone craft sheets, man, go to the body of my video. In fact, the body of my video will have all the measurements, all the supplies I use, how to get contact with me, my email, my website, my direct Stampin' Up Order site. You can also click on the links to the supplies and place an order directly with me as well. So that's great. Anyway, we're going to take this frame here and we're going to put it in the middle like that. Now take the third largest stitch rectangle frame and cut this in basic white. Now we're going to be using Stays On for everything. The only thing you don't really need it for is the sentiments here, but you're already using it, you might as well go ahead. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. Now I've already tested this stamp, because not all stamps are created equal, and you can kind of turn them over and see if anything's like a little smudgy or something. But I'm going to take Your Friendship Feels Like Home to Me sentiment from Feels Like Home and just stamp it at the top and the middle. And then I'm going to also take the little flower pot here from the same set and stamp this in each corner. And I'm kind of lining up the edge of the stamp with the stitching, so hopefully they will be about the right size. There we go. I'm going to show you our first technique with using the soft pastel assortments. Now, I just did a video that I posted on September 16th, and it's a total basic pastel tutorial. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of the things that I used in that tutorial. So I want to color the flowers in the flower pot. So I'm going to start with the lightest color, and I'm going to use the Stampin' Up blending pens here. And I'm going to take this color here, and all the colors are on the back, and it's Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. So I am taking the Mango Melody, and I'm taking that blender, and it will put color on it. Now the blender pens are great if it's just a tiny area. If it's a large area, they don't work as well as you probably would think. So there I did the flower pots, and now I have a piece of scratch paper underneath here, and I'm just getting all that yellow off of my blending pen here as much as I can. And then I'm going to go into the Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to do the leaves. Now don't forget, I give away the demo card, so there'll be 2 cards, and the first 2 people that are new subscribers, go ahead and put your email in my comments and say, I want to win a demo card, and you could win the demo card. And actually, if you are already a subscriber and you haven't gotten a demo card, go ahead and put that in there. It's like, I'm a subscriber, but I've never gotten a card, and put your email in there. And I mail them out. I don't want to keep them around. I'd have like 1,000,000 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the leaves, and I'll be right back. Done with the leaves, I'm going to wipe off the green here, and I'm going to dip into the Poppy Parade and do the little tops of the flowers just to give it that little bit of color. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to wipe off my pen, so the next time when I use this, I won't have that color on there. And then we're going to affix it to the card. Here's that card, and we just put it right here in the middle. There's nothing else. It's just that frame, and then we leave that black spot, and then we put down the card there. So now let's do the front. I don't know if you could tell in the video, this is actually up on foam adhesive strips, and guess what? I just nailed my card right there with what was on my hand. Anyway, so they're up. It's like a picture frame here, and we're only using the biggest stitched rectangle stitch frames, the 1, 2, and 3 down. So to make the outside frame, and this is So Saffron, and it's cut 5.5 by 4.25. Then we also have a basic black cut, also 5.5 by 4.25. And then we're going to take some basic white, and we're going to use that smallest die, and I've already cut this piece. So this one's already cut, so we're going to put that to the side. And then we're going to do like we did on the inside. We're going to take those 2 rectangle stitched frames, we're going to put them on our piece, we're going to tape them down and run them through the die cutter. So I'm going to do that to both of these, and I'll be right back. But this is what you're going to get after you cut them. And make sure when you're cutting these, especially the So Saffron one, that you get that right in the middle, because this is going to go across the card. So make sure that that is centered as much as possible. So we're going to be using the large of the So Saffron, and we're not going to use these. You can use them for something else. And we're going to be taking the second largest of the basic black, and then we can use these pieces for something else. Now we're going to be taking the large stamp here and the sentiment right there from the stamp set, and we're going to be using Stays On. And the reason why we're doing it is because we are going to be using the pastels. We're going to be using some alcohol inks. We're going to be using all kinds of stuff. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment first, and kind of look at your stamp when you've got these orange ones, and make sure that it doesn't have something looking mushy, because if it looks mushy on the stamp, it'll be mushy on your paper. I'm going to stick my head in the camera, sorry. And I'm going to put that right here. And I'm putting this on first because I want to see how much room I have for the big piece. So I'm going to go ahead and take the main focal point here, and we're going to ink that up real good in Stays On, not Memento, Stays On. I'm going to stick my head in the camera, sorry. And I'm going to try to not put this on crooked or off center, and put it right there. Just kind of hold it down, and that's what we get. I'm going to paint this image, and first of all, I know it looks really light there, and I did actually the first time use my Stamparatus, and I thought it came out too dark. I liked it better light than dark. So and you'll notice I have all kinds of little doohickeys on my desk, and if you go back to that September 16th 2021 basic soft pastel tutorial, I'll talk about these a little as well. But what I've got here are some things that if you're going to have pastels, you might as well invest a couple of dollars. Literally, the stuff is pretty cheap to get these things. First one is these little cardboard little tube things. And what these are good for is when you're doing your pastels, they'll help you rub it into places that are intricate. So these are good, and they're like $3 at like a Michael's or whatever. Another thing is a kneaded eraser, and I love these things. You take the big part and you just rip other parts off, and you can just knead it. And what this does is it'll take off little boo-boos. So if you like accidentally, you know, put blue on something that wasn't supposed to be blue, you can literally erase it. It's pretty awesome. So this is a must, and it's like $3 or $4 at like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby or something. So you're gonna see the little eraser booger over here a lot. And then I also have some paint brushes here. Whenever I do cards, I like the paint brushes that are really short. So I think you just have a little more control with them. And then I've got a sponge here. We're gonna do a little sponging as well. And then I've got my little cups here for my colors and some isopropyl alcohol. Make sure it's 91%. Alrighty, so the first thing we're gonna do to this card, I'm gonna just move things around here. Ah, much better. Okay, so we're gonna take a blade and we're gonna take the Night of Navy and we're gonna scrape some off in a little dish. And I like using the dish. If you can use your silicone craft sheet, and that's great. But if you have, like, I've got a ceiling fan going on, because if I didn't, I would spontaneously combust and it would be ugly, and YouTube would kick me off because I would, yeah. I'm a certain age. Anyway, so the ceiling fan would pick up the dust on the silicone craft sheet, or you could easily put your hand in it. I don't like using it for something that's gonna literally fly away. So I scraped off some of that, and then I'm gonna put in some of the alcohol, just a little bit. And then you just have to find the consistency you want. So I grabbed one of my other little short paint brushes, and I'm just mixing it in. And now I'm going to put some on the door, and just also get a paper towel, because you might have to rinse something off or blot it off, so you know you're not like putting too much on. You might want to experiment too. You could also take the pastel in your hand, and as you're doing it, kind of rub it as well, and just fill in the door. Now I think that's a little too light on my color in the dish, so I'm going to do a little bit more color in here. And this is the adjusting part. You know, it's up to you on what colors you want to do. And I just found that the blue door worked best. I started to do one with a brown door. I was able to make brown out of 2 of the colors, but I really wanted red, and unfortunately you can't make red when you don't have a magenta. So you have the yellow, but not the magenta. So that's the color I definitely want. So I'm gonna color this all in, and I'll be right back. I've colored that door, and I purposely made the middle a little too dark, so I wanted to show you how that kneaded eraser works. So you just grab your little eraser booger here, and you could literally take off a layer of the pastel and lighten it up, or give it highlights and stuff. This thing is fantastic. And then when you need to get a new piece, you just knead it up like that, and a new surface comes up and you can use it again. So if you like win out the lines a little bit, you clean it up, because this will ultimately dry into a powder or chalk, because this is chalk. So and you can use, and I did use on my September 16th video, a fixative, because I did a whole thing of just solid coloring. Now this one isn't so bad, so I'm not going to put the fixative on it on this one, because there's so little on it, but the other one I definitely did. So there is the door. The other item that's blue in here is the little seat on the bicycle. So I wanted to put blue somewhere else, so I'm going to just go ahead and do that. Now you can use the blending pen for this, but I don't know, and it does have a tip, so it might be a good idea to use it for this. So I'm going to use it on that, but anything bigger than that, like the door, it just doesn't work as well. So those are the 2 things that I have blue. Now we're going to move to the green. So I'm going to use my Granny Apple green here, and I will use the blending pen on this, because it's so little that this is like perfect for it. So I'm just going to rub it on the stick, and go right onto the tree. Really, really super easy. So I'm going to finish the tree and I'll be right back. If you're finding that you're not getting a lot of green on your blending pen there, go ahead and do the same thing like you did before and scrape some in a little dish and use some alcohol. I'm not going to use too much, like a couple of drops. You can use, and of course, use a different paintbrush. You can use water. The thing about water is that you're going to need to use some watercolor paper, and it's going to take a lot longer to dry. In fact, I left these out on purpose. This is what happens when you leave them alone. They turn back to chalk. So it's really interesting. But if you want to get a little bit more green on your tree, then go ahead and put some in there, and then also rub on your stick there and go back and forth. So let's finish that tree. Now let's take that same green and do the plant boxes here, because there's a lot of green here. And of course, this one is also a plant. We'll do that. And then there's a plant in the hanging basket here. So we'll just do a little green on that. And then there's also, I'm deeming this green in the basket because I have no idea what it is. So I just greened it all up like so. Now I'm gonna try to wipe off some of that green, and I'm gonna actually go into this darker green, the mossy meadow, and maybe do a little bit of the branches on the tree. Now I'm gonna wipe off that mossy meadow, and I'm gonna go into the poppy parade here, which is this one, and get a bunch in there, and I'm going to put little flowers in the flower bed, and I think I'm going to put some in whatever this is in the basket and then some in the hanging basket as well, just like that, and this one down here, just like so. Now I'm going to scrape off some Coastal Cabana and fill in the basket. So just scrape it all up in a little dishy, and then put in my alcohol just a little bit, and grab a new brush, mix it in, and now let's do these little baskets here. I'm sure you have a paper towel just in case you have a little too much on there, and I'm just gonna fill these in just like that. Don't worry about making a mistake. If you make a mistake, we're gonna take that kneaded eraser and just get it off. Try not to get it too wet. Even though we use StazOn, it can smear a little bit. And I'm gonna do this basket up here, like that. And then the basket on the bicycle. Just like so. I'm going to take that Mango Melody again, and we're going to do that. It looks yellow, but it's actually the Mango Melody. We're going to scrape off a bunch of this and make up our alcohol solution. Now I'm going to go in with that yellow and just make some areas here in the yellow. Trying to be really careful. And I'm going to use a sponge here in a minute. Let's go ahead and use that sponge. So I'm going to take a little bit of the sponge, see how much I got via a paper towel here, and then I'm just going to kind of wisp it on. Do like the top and the sides here and the bottom. And just fill it in. It's okay if you like make a little mistake, because you could take that eraser thing and just wipe it out. And then I'll go in with the brush again and do this. Here's another technique for you. If you want to take pastel stick and just kind of draw it in. Now, if these don't work for you, like if I were to use the other side, sometimes it doesn't like do its chalk thing, then just wake it up by scraping it, and then I'll start working. So I made those ugly little lines there. And remember that cardboard tube thing? You could take this and use it for a lot of detail, but you could take it out and spread. Like here's this spot in between here. And if I wanted to, I'll do it next to the bicycle here. So I need to get into that detail. I could take this paper thing and just kind of push it in there like so. And then if it's too dark, then you can take your little eraser booger here and just kind of wipe it. If you didn't like how you did this over here, you could take this and wipe it. So all I'm doing right now is just filling in the color, like in between the bicycle and down here and in between the trees. And you can even take your finger. This is another way of using pastels, is just use your finger and wipe it in. So you got the stick, you got your finger, you can use brushes, you can use alcohol. If you use water, it will work, but you need to use watercolor paper so it doesn't like seep all the way through and then take a million years to dry. And then you can use the direct pencil mark. And then on the September 16th video, I did a Versamark one, and that's really cool too, with a die that embosses at the same time. So that's really, really neat. And I might do one more video just because this is such a cool medium that I'm kind of enjoying myself and challenging myself to do something new. So let me finish this up and we'll be back. Now back to the card. Okay. What I do recommend for this is using the Stampin' Up! Foam adhesive strips. And they're like long dimensionals is basically what it is. And we're going to take our Saffron piece that we cut earlier, grab your silicone craft sheet, and then grab something to cut with and just kind of measure out the length of a strip. Just like do a little cut here and pull this off and try to keep the top part on because we don't want to expose that sticky stuff again, and put it right on the piece like so. So do all 4 sides and then we'll do the next one. Now that you got the foam adhesive strip on there, take this and take your dark Saffron and color the edge of the adhesive strip, because this is going to show on the outside. You don't have to worry about the inside because the black one is going to cover it up. So do all 4 sides and come back. Once you've finished that, now let's go ahead and do the black. Make sure that you put the adhesive strips on the side without the little stitching on it, and do the same exact thing. Just take a strip and put it right there on top of the frame like so. So I'm going to do all 4 sides and I'll be back. Now that you've got this on there, you're going to take your black Stampin' Right. I think it's a little darker than the Stampin' Blend in Black. And these you can get by themselves. They're in the catalog and they're like $4. So I'll put it in the description of my video so you can click on it and place an order. Now you're going to do the opposite of the Saffron one, and that is you're going to color foam adhesive strip inside, not on the outside like we did this one. This one was only on the outside. This one's on the inside. So I'm going to color these black all around and I'll be back. And this is what it looks like. I've filled in all the black on the inside of the foam adhesive strip, and I gave it 2 coats, by the way. So now we're going to go ahead and take the Saffron one and put it on the card. Now this is exactly the size of the card frame. So go ahead and we can try to do that trick where you pull out half and pull out half. I took the top one off and then pull out a little bit here and pull it to the side. So maybe when you have it all lined up, it all works magically. But let's see. I'm going to put my head in the camera. I'm sorry. And I'm going to line it up. I should line it up on the bottom first and line it up with the edge. Sorry for my head. Yes, I have red hair. And line that up. And this will take a minute. I've got the top all lined up. I'm going to take this and pull it. Oh, look, it worked. And then take the side and pull it. Oh, yeah, it works. and then take this and pull it. Woo, it worked. So it looks like so. Now go ahead and grab the black frame and take off all the tape. All the tape's off, and I'm going to once again stick my head in the camera, sorry, and just fit it right inside the other frame perfectly. Just like that. Now it's got like a little window, so that's really cool. And you take the piece that we drew, and since this was made with the stitched rectangle frames, it will be perfect. Ta-da! And then let's just bling it up here and put the little doohickeys on there. And these are, totally forgot what they were called, but here by magic of video, they're the 2020-2022 in color square gems, and I'm just putting the little ones on here. And don't forget, I give away the demo card, so put your email in the comments and say, I want to win the demo card, and I will email you back and get your address and put it in the mail. So that is the card. That'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.